Hello students, welcome back to our channel, and here we are again with a new video. Today we are going to study the English of class 10 and the book is Footprints, and we are going to study chapter number 4, that is a question of trust, and the writer of this story is Victor Kering. So before we get started, before we read the story, we should have a glimpse of this story. So let's get started. So there is a small description given at the top of the page, and it says, "It is said that you must set a thief to catch a thief, but it is also said that there is an honor among thieves." Which saying does this story illustrate? So, to catch a thief, you must have a mind of thief, and there is a trust, there is a loyalty among the community of thieves. But this story, does it prove that this is true? So this story is all about that only. So now we are going to read the paragraphs and we will understand what the story is all about. Everyone thought that Horace Danby was a good, honest citizen. So the first character we are getting in the story is Horace Danby. So I write it on the board so that you can have a glimpse any point of time. The first character here we are. It is Horace Danby. He was about 50 years old and unmarried, and he lived with a housekeeper who worried over his health. In fact, he was usually very well and happy, except for attacks of hay fever in summer. That means a kind of fever that comes during the season of summer. Although he was healthy, but he was suffering from a disease that used to come in every summer, a kind of fever, a kind of hay fever. He made locks and was successful enough at his business to have 2 helpers. That means he was having 2 servants and he was doing the business of locks. Yes, Horace Danby was good and respectable, but not completely honest. 15 years ago, Horace had served his first and only sentence in a prison library. Sentence, that means a kind of jail punishment, you can say. He loved rare, expensive books. So he robbed a safe every year. So every year he was robbing a house. He was stealing in a house. Each year he planned carefully just what he would do. He stole enough to last for 12 months and secretly bought the books he loved through an agent. So he used to rob only once in a year, and the amount he used to steal was enough to survive for 1 year. And with the surplus money he used to buy expensive books, because he was loving to collect expensive books. Now, walking in the bright July sunshine, so it was the month of July, he felt sure that this year's robbery was going to be as successful as all the others. So this year, in the month of July, he was planning to rob a house. For 2 weeks he had been studying the house at the Shotover Grange. It is a kind of place, Shotover Grange. Looking at its room, its electric wiring, its path and its garden. This afternoon the 2 servants who remained in the Grange while the family was in London had gone to the movies. Horace saw them go, and he felt happy in spite of a little tickle of hay fever in his nose. He came out from behind the garden wall, his tools carefully packed in a bag on his back. So for 2 weeks he had been observing the house, each and everything, the passage, the path, the keys, the doors, the windows, the security and everything. One day he got the opportunity. All the family members, they had gone to London. Only 2 servants were there in the house, and that day these 2 servants had gone to watch a movie. So nobody was there at the house. So silently and secretly he stepped in the house, trespassing the wall, and he reached inside the garden. He was having all the required tools on his back, and he entered to rob. There was about 15,000 pounds worth of jewels in the garage safe. So there were jewelries worth 15,000 pounds. So in Britain, the currency which is prevailing there is pounds. Like in India, it is rupees. Like in United States, it is dollar. So in Britain, it is pounds, and it is a huge sum. 15,000 pounds. That means huge sum to survive for 1 year. If he sold them one by one, he expected to get at least 5,000, enough to make him happy for another year. That means worth rupees 15,000 pounds. If he sell it all the jewelries one by one, he will get around 5,000 pounds, which is enough to survive for next year. There were three very interesting books coming up for sale in the autumn. So he was waiting for the books actually. He was going to be released in the autumn season, and he was planning to buy them. Now he would get the money he wanted to buy them. He had seen the housekeeper hang the key to the kitchen door on a hook outside. He put on a pair of gloves, took the key and opened the door. He was always careful not to leave any fingerprints. So he was a very clever thief, Mr. Horace. He was a very clever thief. All the time he was wearing gloves, not to leave any kind of fingerprint so that he can be traced later. And since he was observing the house for last 2 weeks, he knew each and everything. So he knew where the servants have kept the keys. It is near the kitchen door outside. So he got the keys, he opened the door silently, and he got inside the house. A small dog was lying in the kitchen. It stirred, made a noise, and moved its tail in a friendly way. So this thief, Mr. Horace, was very clever, and he knew how to handle everything, including dogs. So while he found the dog, still the dog did not bark. He was handling the dog very fondly, and the dog started wagging its tail like it used to do with its owners. "All right, Sherry," Horace said as he passed. "All you had to do to keep dogs quiet was to call them by their right names and show them love." So he knew the trick. Suppose if you encounter a dog, what you have to do, you have to call it by its name, and you have to show a little bit affection and love. And then the dogs, they become friendly with you. They do not bark on you, they do not attack on you. So Horace also did the same. And the dog was silent and became friendly with Horace. The safe was in the drawing room behind a rather poor painting. Horace wondered for a moment whether he should collect pictures instead of books, but they took up too much room. In a small house, books were better. So there were old paintings also, and in the context of painting, if they are older, they are very rare and they are very valuable. So for a moment he thought that I should steal these paintings also, but later on he realized that my house is small to accommodate these paintings. So he left the idea of stealing the painting and he focused on jewelry only. There was a great bowl of flowers on the table, and Horace felt his nose tickle. So he gave a little sneeze and then put down his bag. He carefully arranged his tools. He had 4 hours before the servants returned. So he had some allergy with the flowers, and some sort of flowers were kept on the table, and he got the allergic reaction, and then he started sneezing. So later on he kept all the tools which was kept on the bag. He kept it on the table and started keeping out all the tools which are required to open the safe for the jewelry. He had got 4 hours, and after 4 hours all the servants who had gone to watch movie, they will return. So he had 4 hours in his hand. There was a great, the safe was not going to be hard to open. After all, he had lived with locks and safes all his life. The burglar alarm was poorly built. He went into the hall to cut its wire. He came back and sneezed loudly as the smell of flowers came to him again. So he knew all the things, he knew about the alarm only because he was dealing with the locks and keys for a long time. So he had the idea of everything. So first he went to cut the wire of the alarm, and then while returning, again the smell of the flowers he had in his nose, and he started sneezing loudly. How foolish people are when they own valuable things. For his thought, a magazine article had described this house, giving a plan of all the rooms and a picture of this room. The writer had even mentioned that the painting hid a safe. So he thought the people are very foolish. They are not capable of hiding their valuable things. Before this incident, a magazine covered all the entire picture of the house, where is the safe and where the valuable things and everything else. So he got the idea in the magazine also. But Horace found that the flowers were hindering him in his walk. He buried his face in his handkerchief. Then he heard a voice say from the doorway, "What is it, a cold or a hay fever?" So, but the flowers, it was giving him little bit trouble. So he covered his nose with his handkerchief. Then he hears somebody calling, "What is it? Is it a kind of cold or a hay fever?" Somebody said. But who was it? Horace didn't know. Before he could think, Horace said hay fever and found himself sneezing again. So, in hesitation, Horace replied, "It is a hay fever." And he started sneezing again. The voice went on, "You can cure it with a special treatment. You know, if you find out just what plants give you the disease. I think you'd better see a doctor. If you're serious about your work, I heard you from the top of the house just now." So the voice comes again that you can be cured. It has a cure. Just stay away from all those things which give you allergic reaction, and get yourself a doctor, and then you'll be treated and you'll be fine. I just heard your voice when I was at the first floor. Now here Horace is surprised at who is talking to me. It was quite kindly voice, but one with firmness in it. A woman was standing in the doorway, and Sherry was rubbing against her. She was young, quite pretty, and was dressed in red. She walked to the fireplace and straightened the ornaments there. So it was a beautiful lady, and she was standing near the door, and she was rubbing the Sherry. Who is Sherry? Sherry is the name of the dog. She was pretty, she was beautiful, and she was wearing a red dress. And she walked to the fireplace, and she was doing something with the ornaments. "Down, Sherry," she said. "Anyone would think I had been away for a month." She smiled at Horace and went on. "However, I came back just in time, though I didn't expect to meet a burglar." So she continued, the lady, that I was about to go to London for a week, but just now I returned, and I was not expecting a kind of thief in my house. Horace had some hope because she seemed to be amused at meeting him. He might avoid trouble if he treated her the right way. He replied, "I didn't expect to meet one of the family." So now Horace is troubled. He is in doubt that if she calls the police, I will be in prison. So he got the idea that if I treat this lady with humble request, and if I talk to her politely, she might let me go away, and she might not call the police. So he replied that I was not expecting any of the family member, since I had been observing the house for 2 weeks, and as I was observing, I saw that everyone else has gone to London. She nodded. "I see an inconvenience it is for you to meet me. What are you going to do?" Horace said, "My first thought was to run." "Of course you could do that, but I would telephone the police and tell them about you. They'd get you at once." So she asked, "Now, since you have seen me, what is the next plan? What are you going to do?" Horace said, "I am planning to run away." The lady said that you can run, but till then I will call the police and they'll come here. Till the time you reach anywhere else, the police will catch you. Horace said, I would of course cut the telephone wires first, and then he hesitated, a smile on his face. I would make sure that you could do nothing for some time. A few hours would be enough. She looked at him seriously. You'd hurt me? That means you would hurt me? Horace paused and then said, I think I was trying to frighten you when I said that. You didn't frighten me, Horace suggested. It would be nice if you would forget you ever saw me. Let me go. The voice was suddenly sharp. Why should I? You are going to rob me? If I let you go, you will only rob someone else. Society must be protected from men like you. So, now Horace said that obviously before going I will cut the all telephone wires and all connection wires. So it will give me a few hours and that is enough for me to run. So the lady said, and if I don't let you do so, what will you do? Will you hurt me? Will you hit me? Then Horace said, no, I was just trying to frighten you. I was just trying to scare you. But the lady was not scared. She was serious. So now Horace requested politely that if you let me go, I'll do nothing. I'll steal nothing. I don't rob you. The lady said, why should I let you go? If I let you go this time, you will rob another house. Then the society, the city must be protected from the thieves like you. Horace smiled. I'm not a man who threatens society. I steal only from those who have a lot of money. I steal for a very good reason and I hate the thought of prison. So now, Horace said that I don't rob everyone in the city. I just rob those people who are enough, who have more than required. And I steal for a good reason. I have a good reason behind it and I hate to going to jail. She laughed and he begged. Thinking that he had persuaded her, look, I have no right to ask you for anything, but I am desperate. Let me go and promise never to do this kind of thing again. I really mean it. So now, Horace started making polite requests that he said, please let me go and I leave this profession forever. I will not steal, I will not rob again anyone ever. And seriously, I am telling you, I mean it, I won't do it again. And the lady started laughing. She was silent, watching him closely. Then she said, you are really afraid of going to prison, aren't you? She came over to him, shaking her hand. I have always liked the wrong kind of people. She picked up a silver box on the table and took a cigarette from it. Horace, eager to please her and seeing that she might help him, took off his gloves and gave her his cigarette lighter. So the lady was laughing and she said, you really hate going to prison. You really hate going to jail. So the lady came nearby Horace and there was a silver box and some cigarettes were kept in that box. So he put out one of the cigarette and in order to please the lady, Horace handed over the lighter. He offered the lighter. You'll let me go. He held the lighter towards her. Yes, but only if you do something for me. Anything you say. Before we went to London, I promised my husband to take my jewels to our bank, but I left them here in the safe. I want to wear them to a party tonight, so I came down to get them. But, Horace smiled, you have forgotten the numbers to open the safe, haven't you? Yes, replied the young lady. Just leave it to me and you'll have them within an hour. But I'll have to break the safe. Don't worry about that, my husband won't be here for a month and I'll have the safe mended by that time. So, Horace said again that, please let me go. The lady said, I have a condition. If you do a task for me, I'll let you go. So what was the task? The lady said, I had to go to London and I promised my husband that before going to London, I will keep all the jewels in the bag. But the lady stopped there and Horace continued interrupting in between. But you have forgotten the number of the safe. Lady said, yes, right. So Horace said, don't worry about that, don't bother about that. I'll get it done, but I'll have to break the safe. Then the lady said, yes, you can, because it will take a month for my husband to return here. Until that time, I'll repair the safe. I'll get it repaired. And within an hour, Horace had opened the safe, given her the jewels, and gone happily away. So finally, the safe is opened and the lady was having all the jewelry and Horace went away. For 2 days he kept his promise to the kind young lady. On the morning of the third day, however, he thought of the books he wanted and he knew he would have to look for another safe. But he never got the chance to begin his plan. By noon, the policeman had arrested him for the jewel robbery at the shop of the branch. So he was thinking that I need to make some other plan so that I can have those books. And he was stealing, he was robbing for the love of books only. So he was planning to buy all those books which were going to be released in the autumn. So he was planning while in the afternoon, third day in the afternoon, a policeman came and arrested him and took him in the prison for the charge of robbery at the Shortwood Branch, the same house. His fingerprints, for he had opened the safe without gloves, were all over the room, and no one believed him when he said that the wife of the owner of the house had asked him to open the safe for her. The wife herself, a grey-haired, sharp-tongued woman of 60, said that the story was nonsense. So, when Horace met the young lady, he thought she was the owner, and he thought that if the owner is asking me to do everything, why should I wear the gloves? So that time he became a little bit careless and he removed the gloves and opened the safe. While the safe, they were capturing the fingerprints. And he was caught by the police by the fingerprints only. But Horace was surprised that why am I arrested? Because the owner of the house, she has told me to do so. But when he came in the prison, in the police station, he was surprised to see that the owner was not that lady. She was a grey-haired old lady and aged around 60 years, while that lady was very young. And the lady who is the real owner, she said that these all things are nonsense, a kind of rubbish story only. I did not say this person to break my safe. Horace is now the assistant librarian in the prison. So he is now the assistant librarian in the prison. He often thinks of the charming, clever young lady who was in the same profession as he was and who tricked him. He gets very angry when anyone talks about honor among thieves. So actually here is the tragic point, the interesting point. That lady was also a thief and he fooled Mr. Horace Danby by weaving all these stories. So she was also a thief, but she was pretending that she was the owner of that house and she fooled Mr. Horace. So all the time he was thinking about that lady only who tricked him, who fooled him, and he was thinking that there is no trust in our profession. Before this incident, Horace used to believe that there is honor and there is truth and there is loyalty also in the community of thieves. But now the trust is broken. So from now onwards, he was thinking that there is no such thing in the community of thieves also. Anyone can fool any other thief. So this was a very interesting story written by Mr. Victor Carey. I hope you understood the story. I hope you understood the paragraphs. Still you have any kind of doubt, you can write that in the comment box. Thank you very much for watching our videos. If you haven't subscribed our channel, please subscribe our channel, like our videos, share our videos and show us your support. So we'll be back again with lots of videos like this only, and till then goodbye and stay tuned.